The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WZWA Network, and welcome to my review show here of XPW. Here Comes Revenge from March 25th, 2023 from the Heart Ballroom in Newark, New Jersey. I was very interested to see how this show was going to go because I believe Pleasures of the Flesh, I gave that show a 7 out of 10. You see, I almost gave it a 6 or a 6.5, but I kind of changed my mind right near the end of the review when I was really thinking about some of the things that I did like on the show. So I have to say this show was a massive step up since, from Pleasures of the Flesh. And I'd have to say it's maybe in the top 3 shows for me that XPW have done since the return at Rebirth. So let's get on with this review, hey? Opening package, very good. I like it. Again, with the Metallica. Clearly Rob Black's favorite band. Also, really enjoyed Drake Younger's promo. My name is Drake Younger, and I approve this message. That's just going to make me laugh either way. But I got a little bit triggered, actually, because he mentioned people wearing skinny jeans. And I messaged him about it, saying that I was triggered because Drake, I look good in skinny jeans. That's why I wear skinny jeans, okay? Like, some people shouldn't wear them, but if you've got good legs like I do, then you should wear them. And unfortunately, because of, what you can see of me in the reviews, you'll never know. No one will ever get to know. So loving the flashback to the previous show, keeping the viewer informed and hyping the story. That's what XPW do very well, is continue story. There's some hype for the body. There's a Soul Taker promo, which is always entertaining. But then I noticed that there was a lot of promos here. So I just fast forwarded a lot of this because I didn't realize it was going to be 47 minutes of promos, and probably music videos and things of that nature. And I kind of wanted to get on with the show because the reason why this review is late is because I had a pretty heavy weekend. I went to a party on Friday night. Saturday, I went to a concert, and when I got home, I had to start trying to watch Impact Wrestling's pay-per-view. Finally got through that the next day, recorded that review. Then, I had a whole other day of drinking to go. Finally, after the end of Sunday, I managed to start watching this show. So I apologize for it taking so long, but hey, I have to live my life. The building looks a lot more packed than recently, which is great to see. Happy to see that. Some of those recent New Jersey shows, the crowd did seem a little bare in comparison to this crowd. So, it looked like they had at least 250 people strong there. So all of you stupid dickheads out there on Twitter, all right, you little keyboard warriors who keep going, oh, they were in front of 40 people, whatever, because you're always going to try and shit on them because you don't like them and the way that they do their thing. The building was packed, so how about you shut your big fat mouth? Rob Black comes out. I like the new ring apron. Thank you. I'm down with that. I've been asking for a new ring apron since the early days of the return of XPW. And I'm sure they didn't do it just because I asked, but I really like it. So well done. Rob introduces that there's going to be a new XPW Heavyweight Championship being unveiled. It looks beautiful, and I think the belt did need updating. The other belt was pretty cool, but this one really, it really pounces out at you, I guess you could say. It's a lovely looking belt. Let's just say that. It pops. That's what I was looking for. It pops. Speaking of pops, I popped for this guy because I heard his name, but I've never seen him perform before. Larry Legend, the ring announcer that they need. And later on, I have some more compliments coming the way of Mr. Legend. First matchup on the show, Mr. Fantastic taking on the Soul Taker. I would have liked if the body came out with Mr. Fantastic, just to continue that little, team that they've got going there. But yeah, that's a real nitpick right there. Soul Taker still undefeated in XPW. I also love the new curtain for the entranceway. Very, very nice. It's things like that, those little details that mean so much, that make things look a little bit better. I laughed at the ring mat still having some blood stains on it. Soul Taker in his promo called him Mr. Fagtastic. That's like an insult that you give someone in elementary school. And I laughed at it. So, I am immature. What can I say? I think Soul Taker is very good on the mic. And this is my first time seeing Mr. Fantastic perform. I think I saw him on one of those Theater of Brutality shows that XPW have done, but this is kind of like more of a proper match, right? So I'm already more invested in this than I was with the Impact Wrestling pay-per-view that I watched the day prior. Just being honest with you, I like Impact Wrestling, but that pay-per-view was a little bit boring. I liked the Howard Cosell reference from Mr. Ron Nemi. And, I'm liking that Ron at times seems to be popping his broadcast partner there, Kyle. Mr. Fantastic gets a golden shower. There you go. That's XPW. Mr. Fantastic gets a golden shower. Big choke slam onto the tacks for the win. Soul Taker is still undefeated, and keeping his matches short is probably a good idea at this stage. We'll see where he goes moving forward, but he certainly suits the vibe of XPW. Coming up next, three-way here. Lucky 13, Kit Osborne, and JJ Escobar. And again, Larry Legend, he's incredibly important to all of this because the way he's announcing each performer, man, it just gets the crowd to rise and give even more of a shit than they already do. It's really good. The last JJ Escobar three-way did not go well. Okay, I can't remember what show it was at. I don't think it was his fault or anything, but it was not a good match. So I was like, let's see how it goes this time. Opening spot, I popped 4 because I didn't even know that there was glass in the corner. It just suddenly shattered. Very clean glass there. Good to see people return to XPW and they have some consistency there. Now I've seen Lucky 13 a few times. I've seen Kit Osborne a few times. Now I've seen JJ Escobar a second time. I like it. I like it. I like it. Someone gets hit with an exploding bat, which I guess had tacks on it or something like that. I did not see that coming. That was a really cool spot. And that move that JJ Escobar did, he picked him up for a suplex, and then on the way down, kind of slammed him down into a rock bottom-esque maneuver. I love that move. That was really cool. And I don't know why no one super well known doesn't do that, because that's a really great finishing move. I've only seen backyard wrestlers or independent wrestlers use that. I was very happy to see instant replays are back. So yes, the first show where they're streaming from their website now, no longer on Fight TV. I noticed that there were no instant replays, but now they've implemented instant replays. Very good. I knew that would happen. Great powerbomb from Lucky 13, and then there's a weed whacker to the dick of JJ Escobar. He looked a little bit hurt. Then he gets unmasked and he buggers off. He buggers off because something's to come. I guess he gets another mask. He's climbed the balcony there at the Heart Ballroom. And I guess Kit and Lucky 13 were kind of brawling near a couple of doors, which was placed on seats, because that's what we do these days in pro wrestling. He comes off the balcony sitting in a plastic chair. It's something that you got to see to believe. He completely missed both guys because neither of them really were at any spot near those tables where he could actually hit them through this insane spot that he did. And look, props to him for putting himself through that. It was a wild spot. The fans went nuts. And I don't even really think the doors broke his fall very much, because it seemed like he just kind of popped in between them, and the plastic chair kind of was obliterated underneath him. So like, I'll give props to that, but at the same time, I don't let other companies get away with it. Okay, the spot didn't really make sense because no one was actually, and of course no one's going to be on the table to take the spot. But that's kind of the problem with these doors, If you don't have like a table, which is a bit more sturdier, you can actually have someone laying on the thing, and then he can quickly roll off, just in time. When you have the doors, you just had one guy like holding the other guy on the edge of the tables, or the doors, sorry. Just wasn't going to work for me anyway, because it didn't look realistic that there was any intent there to actually hit anybody. That's a big nitpick, and I'm sorry, but that's just how I feel. Anyway, Lucky 13 gets the needed win, I feel, here by pinning Kit. And yeah, you know what? Very good three-way match between these guys. So there's a little bit of revenge for JJ Escobar. He's got some revenge on that poor matchup that he was a part of last time. So good for him and good for the boys. There is a Sage Sin promo where she's now calling herself Becky Hate. She kind of denounced being Sage Sin Supreme at the last show, Pleasures of the Flesh. So let's see where this leads to. Larry Legend saying bitches, that made me laugh. And he was talking about the body. So the body is taking on Big F and Joe here, who, as we know, is going to be on pretty much every XPW show this year, which is good. Yeah, okay. So the body gets to the ring during his entrance, and he hits an elbow drop. And I really laughed at Ron Nemi calling it elbow to the mat there, whatever it was that he said, like he's like it's actually in the middle of a match. Just those little things can make me laugh. So here comes a win for Big F and Joe, of course. Great opening spot where he just killed the body with that swing and side slam through through the door in the corner. Gets on the mic and says, what a silly fucking cunt. I love it. I hope the C-bomb from Big F and Joe continues through every show throughout 2023. I like it. Great suplex with the tube. That's really cool, man. He's holding him up for a suplex, and he's also got a light tube tucked in there as well. It must be fun being like a big dude and you get a match with a guy the size of the body. Just do whatever you want. And the body looked fucked up so early in this match. Again, laughing at Big F and Joe going, who are ya? Who are ya? The body is piercing with blood through this match. You got to give the guy props, right? You got to give the guy props. He really does put it all on the line. He had a nice comeback with the Tornado DDT and the Stomp. And I wrote, yeah, this is a nice compliment. I wrote, this is a great death match. That's probably the biggest, kind of form of praise that you can get, really. This is a great death match. So, I'm sitting there going like, I'm enjoying myself. That's what you need. A Bronco Buster from the body, fantastic stuff. And then it felt like I just blinked, and then the next thing I know, all I realize is that the body's dick is out of his pants and Big Evan Joe has stuck a needle into his dick. Then there was a 2 count from that. I'm laughing. This is XPW. And I've seen some comments on Twitter again. And it's stuff like this that really fucking pisses me off. And I've gone over this before with everyone, and I'm sorry to go on a little sidebar and side rant here, but I'm going to bring up Twitter now. Let's look at Martini's Twitter account, see what some of these people were saying, right? Because these are people that just saw one clip, right? And it pisses me off because they say all these fucking things. And, you know, they're obviously upset about something else, which I haven't got to yet, but they're just, these fans are just fucking assholes. I'm sorry, you know, the way that they talk down about everyone, you know, the way that they are so condescending about it, you know, I can't find any of the proper comments that I was looking for before, so I've kind of ruined this. You're all as stupid as you plan spot. The fact that anyone is defending something so ridiculous and gruesome and the wrestlers that actually did it is fucking pathetic. Like, fuck you, Enigma. Anyway, look, this is derailing my review here. I'm not happy with, like, a lot of the people. You know, if you don't like it, don't watch. If you don't like XPW, don't watch XPW. Don't pay any attention to it. If it comes into your view on Twitter and it offends you or bothers you, guess what? You can block it. You can block them. You can mute them. You can mute anyone that you want on Twitter so you never see anything from them. There's people on Twitter that annoy me that I mute. I mute Tony Khan. I mute Brian Alvarez. I mute people that annoy me because I don't want to see anything annoying. So that's all, you know, I've gone over on these rants before, but if you don't like something, then fucking don't watch it. Don't try and get it cancelled. Like, go do something with your day, like something fruitful that you're going to enjoy instead of like trying to take money out of people's pockets, you know? Whether you like some people that wrestle for that company or not, there's still people there that need to get paid. You know, they need to put fucking food on the table. Anyway, let's continue on, okay? So, like, that was a first, you know, and XPW, look, they can say once again that they were the first company to do something. You know, do you people not know who this company is? This is what they do. They've done this for years. This is how they do their thing. Get over it. Go fucking watch something else. Go watch NXT if you want, like, cute little wrestling. Tombstone from Big F and Joe whilst he's got the body in a plastic body bag or just a big plastic bag. Then he puts a sheet of glass in there, chair shots over and over and over and over on it. The glass won't break. And then he just throws the chair at it and it shatters. That's some violent stuff. That got a pop from the crowd. Again, he has destroyed somebody. The referee calls it off. No pinfalls for Big F and Joe. That's 2 shows in a row where Big F and Joe has literally just left someone for dead. That's the way you start getting someone over, especially Big F and Joe, who unfortunately had copped a few losses, you know, through his early run in XPW, you know, against Drake Younger and SHLAK, etc. So he needs a few big wins, brother. Sage Sin Supreme, aka Becky Hate, comes out. She gets mad at Larry Legend for saying the word bitch. And then she calls out my girlfriend, aka Rob's wife, Kat Martini. Sorry, I know. I wrote it there because I thought it was funny. Whatever. I got a crush on it. Okay. Finally, this is what I was looking for. Rob comes out. Rob Black comes out, interrupts, and he goes nuts on the mic. And they're screaming at each other. This is what I was looking for. Because, you know, she was talking shit about Kat Martini. Very good. Of course, the husband would come out and finally stand up for her. And, you know, I thought that was great. And I'm looking forward to seeing where this leads to in the future. So a match is made. And it's Becky Hate against Ludark Shaitan, Chelsea Durden, and Lindsay Snow. So these 4 ladies have been pretty much working the last, you know, several shows here for XPW. So this appears to be like what the division's looking at. Or looking like, sorry, you know, you know, it'd be cool to see a few more ladies a part of it, but these 4 are the mainstays right now, I suppose you could say. This is an interesting and unpredictable situation. See, this is what XPW always does. They make things unpredictable. Every situation appears to be interesting, and you just don't know what's going to happen next. I like it. I like Chelsea Durden's aggression. She's shown some more aggression here than I think in her debut in New Jersey. But I have to be honest, and I feel so bad saying this. I feel bad, but I thought this match was a little bit of a disjointed mess. I don't know what was wrong. It just didn't seem to really click. There was a comment where I think Ron Navy said stapled her right in the tit. The crowd started chanting, "This match sucks." Now, I probably wouldn't have gone that far. I thought it was a bit of a mess, but I would say the match sucked. But things like picked up a little bit more, and I'll give some props to that in a minute. But like, for example, like Lindsay went for a chair shot on Becky and kind of missed. And spots like that made me think, like, I think they're improvising a lot of this match. It just felt like there was no, sometimes you don't need to have a big story being told in every match, but it felt like there wasn't no real story being told here. I didn't see a hell of a lot of psychology being implemented here. But it did pick up a little bit with some really cool spots. Snap suplex by Lindsay Snow on Becky on the cans, you know, those half cans sticking out of the plank of wood. And then Becky had a can lodged in the small of the back, which was quite the visual. Then Lindsay with a dive to the outside, which picked up the excitement a bit. So I'd give Lindsay Snow the MVP for this match, without a doubt. I thought the finish was a little flat. As an attempted Tower of Doom type maneuver. And Ludark ends up pinning Chelsea. So, yeah, flat finish, I think, for me. And I have to say, at this point, Chelsea Durden needs a win. She's just lost 3 in a row. So we get to intermission. And then after intermission, we have, well, I would say this is probably match of the show. Yeah, I'd have to say this is match of the show. Aeroboy making his XPW debut, taking on Drake Younger, who has been doing a great job this year. Larry Legend, again, fantastic ring announcer, bro. They're talking about this Karlifornia King of the Deathmatch tournament. I'm excited for it. And as a fan, I hope maybe one of you are watching this now. There are some people I like to see in this tournament. I would like to see the bulldozer Matt Tremont in this tournament. He did not get to be in the first one. I'm not sure what the reason was why he did not show up for that. I'd like to see him in the tournament. I'd also like to see Insane Lane get an opportunity because I know he would like to be in XPW for one of these tournaments. That's just a couple of names I was just going to throw out there. I think that would be really cool. Okay, so you know who else? Tank. I'd like to see Tank, the big bastard Tank in that tournament. Anyway, let's get to this match. Nice start, bit of pace. Again, a nice palate cleanser. Aeroboy suplex on Drake on the apron was rough. But, you know, utilizing those light tubes was very cool. Sorry, I'm going to have a sip of beer here. Okay. Half Nelson suplex through tubes by Drake Younger. Very good. I think Drake Younger is pretty much the MVP of XPW right now. He's killing it every show. His match is, if not the best, almost the best. And his character work too. You know, he's great on the mic. Dude's charismatic. He's got it going on. And speaking of having it going on, he hits a great stalling suplex through the tubes. Then Aeroboy cops a Northern Light suplex through the tubes. His back is a bloody mess. Excuse me. Aeroboy's back was rendered red. It was insane. Brainbuster through the tube. Then Drake ascends the turnbuckles. He has tubes in his hand, and Aeroboy, in utter desperation, hits a running kick. Running up the turnbuckles, smashing those tubes into Drake's face. Great visual. Crowd were into this. And then Aeroboy hits a running belly-to-belly throw off the top on Drake through tubes. Jeez, this was great, dude. This was really awesome. Then Aeroboy with this awesome splash on Drake with tubes on him. More tubes. Vertebraker on Aeroboy. He kicks out. I was expecting maybe a frog splash was coming soon, but a second vertebraker was hit after a little bit of a transition between the two. And I think it was a great finish. But you can see Aeroboy on his hand had a bad cut, and it looked pretty painful. So I hope he's all right. But these things are bound to happen in a match with so much glass. And we go from glass to class because Classy comments after the match from Drake Younger. And, he makes some, nice comments to Aeroboy. And you know what? I'd like to see Aeroboy in XPW more. That would be cool. I'd like to see Aeroboy against Juventud. That would be cool. And I'd also like to see Juventud versus Masada for the title. But, I can keep on throwing my wish list out there because this is my review. Thank you. Drake then gets attacked. I had no idea who this was when the mask was on. I needed prompting from the commentator, and I got that. It's G-Raver. So, again, a big surprise, just like with Dirty Ron at the last show, XPW appears to be the land of the cancelled. I don't have a lot of information on what the whole big deal is. I saw all the comments. People are very mad that G-Raver's being given an opportunity or a platform to wrestle somewhere. But, Cat Martini said that a lot of people on the roster were gunning for him to be given a second chance. And, I don't know a lot about the situation, but from what I gather, a lot of it had to do with things that he did things whilst in a drug-fueled, alcohol-fueled bender. From what I gather, these were things that happened and he wasn't aware he was doing these things until he had woken up the next day. That's something that I've seen online. I'm not giving any excuses for it, but look, Ozzy Osborne once tried to kill his wife, woke up the next day and had no idea what had happened. So I'm not giving excuses. I'm just saying there are reasons why things happen sometimes. And, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say, give him another chance, because I don't know really what the go is. I don't really, perfectly honest, I don't actually really care. I just want to see wrestling. I'm not here to watch people based off what they do in their personal life or what they do. I don't know. I don't pay attention to that stuff. I don't really care. I just want to see a good show. So we'll see what happens. If the boys really want him to have an opportunity, then I say he should be given an opportunity. Why not? If they don't have a problem with it, then it shouldn't matter. And if he fucks up, then he fucks up and then he's gone. But one thing I did have a problem with, I probably would have had him get on the mic and say something instead of just get in the ring and stand there. I probably would have got him to say at least, a couple of sentences, maybe alluding to wanting to fight Drake Younger at the next show or whatever the hell's going to happen. After this was over, props to the dude that's sweeping the ring with that broom. His brooming skills were fantastic. Dave Meltzer, I have to give those brooming skills 5 stars. I mean, my God. And props to Ron and Kyle for keeping the chatter going during the cleanup and intermission. Moving forward, XPW Heavyweight Championship of the World on the line. Masada takes on MAGA Butcher and somebody who's been inserted into the match at the last moment, Tom Latimer, with Cat Martini at ringside. Again, MAGA Butcher's entrance is hilarious, and I love watching it from start to finish. It's just so patriotic. Masada's next, all business as usual. Here comes Cat with Tom Latimer. And I have to be honest, I think Cat's confidence as a performer has grown leaps and bounds since her debut. She's only going to get better the more reps she gets out there. So that's cool. Although I'd like to see what's going to be happening in the future with that TV title. Danny Ramirez with the fucking megaphone, man. Last show, it really annoyed me. But him yelling into it, I didn't know what he was saying because he's on the other side of the ring. He's yelling into the megaphone, and I couldn't make it out what he was saying. It made me laugh because it was just this muffled anger being spouted from him. And again, looking at him from, he's right on the other side of the building, and all you can see is this guy in this fucking suit with his little hat on. Like, it just makes me laugh. It's a great character, man. So it's an all-out brawl, and they spent a lot of time on the outside, and there's nothing wrong with that. That would be normal for a situation like this. Was a little bit of a slow match, but it's a small building with 3 massive dudes in there, so it's not going to be some fast-paced, high-flying match. It's going to be like this. It's going to be a brawl, a fight. Hardcore Hillbilly cops a kendo stick shot in the head after getting involved. One little nitpick, though, not long after that, he was back on the outside of the ring waving his flag and not really selling the fact that he got kendoed to the head. I think like a guy like a Masada, like a Latimer, like a Necro Butcher, if they get hit in the head with a kendo stick, yeah, okay, they sell it for a little bit, and then maybe like a couple minutes later, they're no longer selling it. But when you're a character that is like someone from ringside who's clearly weaker than the actual pro wrestlers in the ring, you kind of are just as weak as a referee. So I think Hillbilly should have been selling that way more than he was, because I think those side characters, yes, they can get involved. Yes, that's the point of them being there is to interfere, to cause distraction. That's why they would be brought out in the first place by the wrestler, because they need those added elements in order for the character to find the success that they're seeking, because they're obviously missing something. And MAGA Butcher's a little bit older now, so he probably does need a little bit of help from, the dog and pony show, whatever people call that kind of thing, where you've got all these people, these, misfits around you. So Cat and Jasmine get into it, have a little cat fight, which is great. People always pop for that stuff. And then it was fun seeing Cat Martini spank Jasmine St. Clair. It's XPW. I was actually thinking MAGA Butcher could win the belt here. I'm not sure why the decision hasn't been made to have him win the belt. It's not a big deal. Like, keep Masada on this run. That's cool. But I thought MAGA Butcher really he's earned something after all the great work he's done as his character in the last year or so. Big superplex onto the guardrails. Rough stuff there for Latimer and Masada. The boys are earning their pay. DVD onto the rail from Masada on Butcher. Butcher hits an American Destroyer on Latimer, which was fucking incredible. The referee was pulled out of the ring when Necro was so close to a pin. Good drama, boys. Masada ends up retaining. I think it was a massive clothesline that he hit, or maybe like a spinning discus lariat on Necro Butcher to get the victory and retain the title. So cool. Very cool. And also more props to XPW. I dig the live tweets going up. Good job. And the music videos were a nice touch during the break before we get to our main event of the evening. The Sky High Double Wire Double Glass Total Hell Death Match for the XPW King of the Death Matches Tournament Championship. It's SHLAK taking on Atticus Cogar. It's my second Atticus Cogar match I've seen now, or maybe third. But I really like the timing of when SHLAK held the belt up, just as the gunshot went off in the song. Very cool, SHLAK. Larry Legend, the ring announcer again. I think I've mentioned him more than anyone on this show. Sign this man to a multiple-year contract if you do that kind of thing. Keep him there. This guy's great. He's great on the ring announcing. it's legitimately getting fans more invested when the ring announcing is that good. To the commentary team, Kyle Wilde does a good job of laying out and letting Ron take the lead and then speaks when necessary. He doesn't do your fucking head in by incessantly yelling and going on and on and on like Corey Graves does, where you're 3/4 of the way through a pay-per-view and you're like, my God, I can't handle Corey Graves any longer. So very good work, Kyle. They take it slow in this matchup before implementing the tubes. Atticus dives onto SHLAK from a elevated spot, but he had some wire caught in him, so it looked pretty gnarly. It was an all-out brawl, this match, and then it gets broken up with things like SHLAK Sabre Jr. with the Magistral Cradle, which people always seem to get a kick out of. There's this front flip neck breaker off the ring apron onto a barbed wire bed. So fucked and dangerous, but awesome. And I have to say, I don't know what was going on with the crowd, but they seemed so quiet for this one. Maybe they were a little bit, maybe they got a little bit tired or something, because I guess there's a long time waiting between, they got to set the fucking match up. There's a bit of a scaffold thing there, but maybe, the Masada, MAGA, Latimer, and then Drake and Aeroboy was maybe a little bit tiring. Maybe you needed to throw in, I don't know, a quick palate cleanser between the, heavyweight title match and this main event. Just something, I don't know. Sometimes that works. Anyway, let's get back to it. So anyway, I got lost there. SHLAK, man, he was getting tortured by Atticus because SHLAK was caught in the ropes, in the barbed wire, jammed into his wrists. And he's just getting tortured with Atticus sticking skewers in his head, then on the other side of his head, then in his shoulder, then in his back, then in the back of his head. Like, just kept on doing it over and over and over again. And I'm just like, fuck, man, what a visual. We start setting up some doors and some chairs. To be honest, I'm starting to miss actual tables. I'm sure doors are cheaper, so that's why these companies are using doors quite often. But I'm starting to miss actual tables. That's just me. Doors on chairs is a very backyard wrestling thing. That's what me and my friends used to do because, you couldn't just buy tables like that. SHLAK powerbombing the shit out of Atticus and still having skewers in his head was a really cool moment of the match. Then we set up a glass sheet on top of the double door table. Again, I would say the last quarter of the match had been a tad slow, but this is what happens when something's a war like this. They're exhausted. They've gone through hell together, so no problem. I did laugh at the referee just like piling tubes onto the table. Like, why is it your place to be doing that? Obviously, he's helping out because these things are difficult. And a lot of people give AEW a hard time about how they had 4 referees holding the ladder for Powerhouse Hobbs the other week. But in XPW, I find it funny, but they always say in commentary, the referees are told that they have to help, which is good because it means that spots get set up quicker. SHLAK goes to the top of this scaffold. Atticus follows. We know that the finish of the match is coming soon after this. SHLAK gets the advantage on top of the scaffold, grabs Atticus Cogar. I nearly said G-Raven then. How? Side slam off the scaffold through that pile of insanity, I'm going to call. And SHLAK had landed on his opponent, Atticus Cogar, there, and immediately got the 3 counts to retain the belt. So there we have it. The end of the show. SHLAK retains. There's a guy called Daniel Shine at Flesh Wound Dan. He said this on Twitter. Not to spoil, I think he does a review of XPW as well. Not to spoil our review tonight, but we love you guys. Oh, he's talking to XPW. XPW makes wrestling feel dangerous and unpredictable again. All this crying and whining is hilarious. Here Comes with Revenge was an absolute home run. At XPW Wrestling, hashtag needle dick. Good hashtag. Yeah, I agree. You know, this is, you know, I say things like, this is wrestling that doesn't insult my intelligence. And people be like, oh my God, man, like seriously, like a needle in a dick is the kind of wrestling you're looking for. Bro, I loved it when Val Venus had his dick cut off by Kaientai. Like, I like shocking things. There's nothing, you know, it's nothing wrong with it. It's a bit weird, yeah, but that's what XPW is. It brings out the weird. What's wrong with being weird? It's out there, you know? And again, like, didn't DDT just do this spot where someone had to like eat the ass of 4 different wrestlers? That's too much, I think. At least this is like, you know, someone's actually doing something to hurt somebody else because they're in the confines of a death match. And I said, like, the previous time I saw the Body wrestle, I complained about, I didn't complain, but I just said, look, every single show, someone sticks it through his cheek. It's getting a little bit old. Like, what are you going to do to keep this spot fresh? Well, I'll tell you what, he kept it fresh by having it jammed up his dick. So, and I don't know if it went up his dick. It was just whatever. I didn't have a closer look. I didn't pause it and zoom in to see just whereabouts the needle went into his flaccid penis. But anyway, there we have it, everyone. There we fucking have it. Time for me to give my final rating and final thoughts on this show. Previous rating, again, I gave it a 7 out of 10 the last time with Pleasures of the Flesh. It nearly got a lesser rating than that. I actually kind of think Pleasures of the Flesh might have been the show that I liked the least of XPW, despite some of the efforts of the people in the show. This show, however, very close to being just as good, if not better than, I can't remember what the name of the show was. But there was a show recently, you know, in the last 6 months or so that I said was XPW's best event. This is probably the second best XPW event I have seen. I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10. Huge. Really liked it. Different flavors on the show. Could have done with a little bit more sexiness, you know, because if I have to sit through looking at a dick, then. But anyway, look, the controversy will continue to follow XPW. This is what they do. You don't like it, hit the bricks, kid. Go watch something else. Go watch Stardom. Go watch NXT. You know, if you like deathmatch wrestling, then go watch GCW or Circle 6, whatever they're called. I don't know. But just go watch something else. Don't bother with it. Mute it. Block it. I'm Karlifornia. This is the WZWA Network. Check us out on ProWrestlingTees.com under our merchandise store, Thunder Mifflin. And also, please go to the Ryzen Network, www.ryzen.net, RIZON. You go into a chat room called #ProWrestling. You put your little nickname in there. You join the chat room. Wicked bunch of people in there. And I know for a fact one of the guys in that chat room was at this show that I just reviewed here today. XPW, Here Comes Revenge. So there we have it. Karlifornia, WZWA Network. See you down the road. Thank you.
Network, that's the way we play. Good God Almighty. Network, that's the way we play. Get puppies. Network, that's the way we play. Get.
The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.